Hey, I am Janice, and I want to take a few minutes this morning to explain to you my first reading series. There are 50 books in this series. That is 50. You can see on the very back all the different stories that are in this series, and the illustrations are just amazing. There are 3 sections to this series. There is the yellow section right here, and maybe you would call this the orange section, and then the pink section. So it's kind of like 3 levels. But the first level, I'm going to spend some time really explaining to you. The first level has 15 books in this series. The very first one in this series is called Pirate Pat. And the way that it works is on the back of each of these in the first section, you're going to have a focus. And right here, it's telling you the focus of what they're doing in this story. These are the phonemes that you can introduce to your child first. And these phonemes is the smallest unit of language. It's the smallest unit of sound is what the phonemes is. And what that means, like P is P, stuff like that. It's those sounds. So you can teach your child those sounds. And then you're going to start reading the series. And this is a dual reader. What we mean by that is you as the parent would read this and your child would read that. So the way it goes is the night was cold and the sky was black. The wind rattled. And then your child reads tap, tap, tap. And then as they go through the series, they get lots of practice. Then in the back, there's comprehension questions. We as teachers know our comprehension questions, but even our husbands or an older sibling can go through the child and ask the questions for this. There's also answers in the back if they need to have the answers. So they've got the answers so that they know. So on each one of the phonemes, this is book 1 and book 2, they both go through the same phonemes so that they've got those under control. And then they move on to the other things. Halfway through on book 7, they are working on more complicated phonetics. And in the very back, again, you will see this one is working on what we call more of the vowel pair. There's a vowel pair here. There's also a vowel R syllable. So just to kind of help them in understanding that. As they go through this series, again, it's dual reader. You would read this and they would read that, but you can see the print is getting a lot more. This is helping with fluency too, to have them start to read, but you're modeling fluency right then for them. And fluency helps a lot with them trying to understand what they're reading. It's one of the most important things that we can do. So that's book 7. By the time you get to book 8, they're reading on their own. And you will see right here, they're reading on both pages. And it also has information in the back of what they're working on, just to kind of give you a little bit of an idea. Again, this is more of a vowel R. So anyway, as you get to book 12 or 14 later on in this series, they're working on more complicated things. In the back, as you can see, the WH sound, the PH sound, the sound that where it's spelled with CE or it's spelled with CI. So these are different things that you can expose your kids to, and that's just the best part about it. So that's the first 15 books of this series. Then you go to this little section right here, what I call the yellow section or level 2, and it gets a little bit more complicated. They're reading every page. There are a lot of times classic folk tales and things like that with this one. Let me show you in the back here some of the activities that they're doing. But again, the print is a lot more complicated. So they're going to get a little bit more complicated. And then as you go through the back here, this is the pink section. You're dealing with the sound of OU and how sometimes OU can say owl. Dr. Foster went to Gloucester. And a lot of rhyming words. And rhyming words, especially for kids who are struggling readers, they don't hear them, so they have to be really pointed out. So talking about the position and talking about the letters is exactly what you want to do when you're teaching them to read. So thank you for joining me. This series is the best value ever. It's only $2 a book, and you will have it for years and years and years. And the storylines, I have schools that have told me that these books are better than Bob books because Bob books are boring, and we don't want to teach kids that reading is boring. We want to teach them to fall in love with reading. So thank you for helping me with my personal mission to spark the love of reading in children. Thanks for joining. Bye.